Party!
What's happening, guys? James Blonde here with MMOHuts.com, and if for some reason you haven't noticed, it's summertime. That means it's hot, school is out for most, and it's a great time to stay inside and get your game on. Unless you're playing Pokemon Go, of course. Then you can kind of do both, because you want to be outside. Luckily enough for you, I've decided to put together a personal list of free-to-play PC games that are also hot right now in order to help you figure out what you should be playing, you might want to try, or in some cases are looking forward to. And most of these games you can access right now for free, and a couple are set to go more public towards the end of summer. So in no particular order, these are MMOHuts Hot Summer Games, starting with Hero Wars. So this new MMO action RPG from KOG Games, the same creators as Elsor, just hit open beta after a few playtests late spring, early summer, and that's actually surprising considering the game has pretty much been rebuilt from the ground up over the Korean version. KOG felt the need to emphasize what worked well in the game and dropped all of the systems and mechanics that didn't cater to the new Western audience, and the result of that has been fairly well received. Overall, the game is super fun to solo or even hop into groups for more XP, of course. At some point down the road, we're actually going to see a really interesting PvP game mode that we've only heard about. It's teased by one of our friends that actually works at KOG Games. As of now, there are 8 different characters to play as, one added today in fact, and plenty more to come as they get polished up and prepped to fit into the game. But seeing that the game is now in open beta, more characters and game mechanics polish are really all we're looking forward to before launch. Similarly, we had a really awesome new hybrid game surprise us recently, so of course Master X Master is on the list. Now, before playing MXM at E3, I figured it was just an NCSoft version of Heroes of the Storm, a MOBA game with semi-unique mechanics, like being able to choose 2 different characters at once in order to bring them into the fight and swap between them for that neat tactical gameplay opportunity, but it turns out it's way more than just that. The game is only part MOBA. The storyline is actually focused around its PvE mechanics that are more along the lines of Marvel Hero style, like an action RPG, than any MOBA games. It's got cool boss mechanics, crazy rock, paper, scissors elements that actually make you think about the masters you choose to bring into the different zones, easy to learn abilities, power-ups, crafting, weapon swaps, cool skins, and plenty more. Then on top of that, you've got your several different PvP modes, one that includes the over-the-top MOBA 5v5 game mode with mechanics that's along the lines of Heroes of the Storm. That's probably where most of that comes in. There are currently 10 masters to choose from, and the game has only had a single beta test so far, but it's still grabbed a lot of attention from MOBA players and RPG players. From the looks of things, they plan to add at least 20 more masters as they go along, some from other NCSoft games like Guild Wars 2, WildStar, and Blade and Soul, but at the same time, they've also been creating characters that are unique to this game alone. I've got a feeling that once this game goes more public, it'll hold on to its popularity for a good while. Definitely worth trying this summer. And while we're talking NCSoft, next up we've got Blade and Soul. So, of course, this isn't a new game for the summertime, but that doesn't mean that this game isn't packing that summer heat. In fact, I'm pretty sure they just put on their swimsuits. The swimsuits are cool, dancing, not so much. So yeah, all kinds of summer events going on in this game. Right now you can collect Coralite to upgrade your special oceanic weapon. You get this Coralite from doing daily dungeons, and after you upgrade your weapon, you can trade it for rewards like costumes and other items. Hopefully not these terrible dances. I wouldn't trade much for that. The higher you upgrade your weapon, of course, the better the trade. And as you might have heard or remembered from our E3 dev interview, there's a lot planned for this game throughout 2016, a lot of which is happening this summer. The most recent update, called Shadows of the Innocents, continues the storyline, introduces Acts 5 and 6, plus brings in a few new heroic dungeons to keep players challenged and busy. So with all the new content headed our way, summer is definitely not a bad time to be checking out Blade and Soul. And if you want to change things up a little bit and take to the skies on a mount you just caught, you might want to check out Riders of Icarus. Heading to open beta recently, Riders of Icarus is also serving up the content nice and hot, so just 2 to 3 weeks after the launch into their open beta, they're ready to start pushing more and more content. Starting now and into the coming months, players can look forward to an increase in level cap, new regions to explore, more dungeons, and even more mounts to tame, not to mention more PvP stuff. The most recent update, known as Blight of Frostkeep, ups the level cap to 35, brings in new snow-covered lands of Parna's Coast that, will help cool down the summer, I suppose. It's kind of always strange when they release the wintry stuff during the summer. 2 new instances and plenty of new familiars to find and tame. Okay, so I'm not exactly saying that it's the best game 2016 has to offer. That's not what this list is about, of course. I can say, though, when it comes to somewhat cool mount collecting and taming systems, and perhaps good PvP later on, we're hoping, Riders of Icarus fills that void much better than, say, Dragon's Prophet, or even Dragomon Hunter for that matter. If you feel the urge to collect more than just Pokemon right now, Riders of Icarus is worth a look. But on that note, another game that might be worth checking out when it comes around this August is Twin Saga. Now, this clearly isn't one of the hot summer games on the list because, you know, it's not a game that we can actually play just yet. But it is headed our way this summer, and I figured I'd mention it. Revelation is another one of these games to look forward to, but, you know, we're not actually going to see that game until the end of the year, at the earliest. It should probably go on the hot games to play this winter list. Twin Saga, on the other hand, is this year's happily provided anime MMORPG from X-Legend and Area Games. And yes, this has definitely become an annual thing, so we can only hope that it's better than last year's. In Twin Saga, you're able to pick from 4 classes to start with, and then unlock 6 others as you progress along, but you're able to switch classes at any time so that way you can better adapt to the correct playstyle for the situation and also master each class like you would in Tree of Savior, I suppose. Beyond that, as a unique system, you're able to roam the game world from your walking house known as a Terra Cottage. This user-designed walking house lets you work on all your professions right from home, including cooking and crafting from things you grow in your personal greenhouse. So yeah, it's got some cool things I wouldn't mind messing around with, but that's basically all we know for now. Oh, well, besides the fact that the game has 7 different Founders Packs to choose from, I suppose Area Games just figured, why not hit them with a ton of choices? They'll get so confused that they'll just pick one at random. I guess it works that way. Early access starts in early August. That's part of what you get out of the Founders Packs. Otherwise, knowing Area Games, I'd expect to be in Twin Saga testing it out mid-August. And from there, we'll see how it goes. Well, that's it for MMORPGs. I guess we can just evolve into something else, like Evolve Stage 2, which is next on the list. So this was literally a gift sent from the gods, in my opinion. We kind of had a feeling Evolve would end up free-to-play, but we were also kind of really shocked when it happened anyway. Especially since they've also revamped a lot of the game just to transition it over and made it so that way the only thing you can purchase was the game itself, which basically gives you all the stuff in the game that you'd normally get anyway if you just played it for hours and hours and hours. Well, I like the new setup. Monsters on free rotation, hunters on free rotation. Heck, you get to experience new content when other people unlock stuff. Yeah, someone unlocks a monster you haven't had a chance to fight just yet? Awesome. Someone else unlocks a new hunter that helps the group out in a new way? Extra awesome. It's not that often that we see a AAA quality game go completely free to play, so that alone is a treat, but the game just feels like it was meant for it. And it shows. Player count is higher than ever. Good choice made by 2K and Turtle Rock Studios. Hopefully it's exactly what the game needed in order to survive. Speaking of surviving, if you're wanting to survive in a world full of dinosaurs and other people trying to kill and eat you, Ark Survival of the Fittest is the game for you this summer. Another good choice from the developers, making this game completely free to play, unlike H1Z1's version in my opinion. So here, there's nothing to pay for with Survival of the Fittest, unless of course you learn that you like the game so much that you end up going with Studio Wildcard's main game, Ark Survival Evolved, which is a personal favorite of mine. Otherwise, the game might actually end up paying you to play, if you end up being the fittest in their monthly leagues, that is. Survival of the Fittest is set up a lot like Hunger Games. It's the best way to put it. You've got team survival, either teams of 4 or teams of 2, or you can brave it out and go solo. And not only do you have to deal with the random carnivores trying to eat you while you're hiding to survive, or of course other players who are trying to kill you sooner or later depending on their luck and timing, but you also have to deal with evolution events. Some of these are helpful to players, plenty of them are not. I don't see how acid rain, arctic monkeys throwing poop, or Carno drops are all that helpful, unless of course you tame your Carno after surviving its attack, which I've done in the past. Regardless, these events and the fight for survival itself tends to keep your heart pumping the entire match, and that is my favorite part. Beyond that, if you've got what it takes, you can also earn some nice cash for being the month's most fittest in the Survivor League, like I mentioned. It's not for everybody, especially if you don't have a PC that can run it. That can really mess you up. But if you do, and you like the competition, this game gets pretty badass. While we're talking badass, the new sci-fi MOBA Paragon is also on the list, and you don't necessarily need a PC to run it. The game is cross-platform with the PlayStation 4 right off the bat. Paragon blew us away when we first saw the trailers, but it turns out the game also plays just about as good as it looks. That was the part we didn't really see coming. because that's usually not the case. This game has some of the coolest looking heroes I've ever seen in any MOBA. I mean, thanks to the Unreal 4 engine, the heroes in this game look so good that it's almost like if League, Dota 2, or Smite literally used their artwork for their in-game models. That's a pretty accurate comparison. The card system in the game is also a unique way to build out your heroes, which is getting more and more intuitive for players, and the cards can only be earned by playing the game. If you do, however, feel the need to spend money, you can pick up starter packs and founders packs that will progress you through the master challenges a little faster, or complete them for you, which grant you the master skins, a permanent XP boost that will continue to make these master challenges complete faster, and of course an exclusive skin. Otherwise, the game is set up pretty fantastic, and it's only in early access. Once the game goes into a free open beta on August 16th, Smite won't be the only third-person MOBA getting popular quick. And speaking of Smite, it doesn't quite feel like summer without it. That's why it's called the Summer of Smite. Every year. There's always cool stuff going on in the Summer Smite. This year there are 8 exclusive summer-themed items released weekly up until August 16th. These items also include a bonus item after every 2 Summer of Smite items you purchased, so that's cool too. So far we've got the Rockabolona Bologna, Chef Specials Kepri, Land Shark Sobek, which looks kinda awkward in my opinion, and a Challenger Nuwa, sporting the beach volleyball looks. I'm also willing to bet that Medusa is getting an exclusive skin this summer as a mermaid. Based on their picture here, why else would this mermaid have a bow? I hope it's called Medusa. Either way, there's cool stuff happening in Smite after the mid-season update. Plenty of new stuff to check out. And if you're looking for a hero or ability-based shooter that's free to play and seems to change its mind every day, Paladins is worth a look. Surprisingly enough, this game isn't in open beta, although it's surprisingly easy to get access to. As of lately, the dev team seems to have lost their minds, not knowing which way is up or down when it comes to what they want in the game. But I kinda don't blame them. They are having to compete with Overwatch and a couple other buy-to-play titles out there, so the development on this game is very trial and error, so it's a little tough getting used to anything for very long, but despite that, the game remains fun at its core. The card system is also a great idea, even though it's a little wonky still, and they do have to change it up once a week it seems. The champions for the most part have remained consistent, adding in a new champion ever so often, which was also different than they originally had planned. The focus in the beginning was to add cards that would change up players' builds while keeping the character roster relatively low, and they've kind of reversed that. It's all part of this crazy community-driven development that's going on in this game. Eventually, when the developmental challenges and changes slow down, then the game will have its potential. But until then, it's pretty fun just to hop in to get a feel where the game's going at its core. Now, the other crazy part here that's not really helping it out is that they've got tournaments going on for Paladins. Yeah, if they can't really figure out what the game needs to be or how it needs to stay, it's probably not the best idea. Definitely the hot mess of this summer. Well, anyway, guys, there are plenty of games to be played right now this summer. These are just some of my personal suggestions if you're looking for something new to try when you're not out playing Pokemon Go, that is. Let us know in the comments below what free-to-play games you're enjoying the most this summer, or even what games you're looking forward to playing later on this year. Pick up more information about the games featured here from the links in the description below. Keep up with the latest gaming news at MMOHuts.com. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.